Hello, viewers, and welcome to a new episode of Reminiscences with Chief Audu Innocent Ogbeh, who has been many things, among which a lecturer in the university. Has put his resourcefulness also to farming. But above all, I think a politician since 1979 when he was elected into the Benue State House of Assembly and became the deputy speaker. He's been minister thrice. So he's been a constant fixture in our politics, minister under President Shehu Shagari. Twice. And then, of course, lately minister under President Obasanjo. President Buhari, Minister of Agriculture between 2015 to 18, I think. He has also been the chair of the People's Democratic Party between 2001 and 2005 under President Obasanjo. He was chair of the Arewa Consultative Forum until recently, and is still very much alive and kicking in his home here in Abuja. Chief Ogbeh, welcome to Reminiscences. And I'm struck by the name Innocent. I don't know how you try to live up to that name as a politician.
I make every effort. I'm a Catholic. And so we have the names of some of these saints and popes in the Catholic Church. So when you were young, you were asked to pick a name reflective of the beliefs of the Catholics. So again, this follows up to a historical development which may not be very appetizing. When the Europeans decided to give up the slave trade, it was their pattern now to ask you to pick an English or European name.
Yeah.
Obviously, one easier for them to pronounce. And it began in Liberia. And, so as they Christianized you, in quotes, they gave you an English name. So it became part of the pattern. So that's it.
How was growing up for you?
My father was a steward to a colonial district officer in Otukpo called Captain Money. Strange name.
Money.
The war ended in...
Money?
Money.
Money.
M-O-N-I.
Yeah.
The war ended in 1945, and then they started living... independence came in 1960.
Yeah.
And they left. And then my father, of course, went back to his small farm. And I was born in 47. My mother had lost 3 boys who died before I was born. And then we grew up in Otukpo, very poor home. At the age of 4, I used to follow my father to the farm to help him make fire, to roast the yams or the corn and so on, not much of the rigorous work. Then we grew up primary school, St. Francis Primary School, Otukpo. Then 1961, entrance examination to St. Michael's Secondary School, Aliede, where Cardinal Onaikon attended school. He was 6 years my senior.
Yeah.
And then from there, King's College, Lagos, where I did my higher school, 67, 68.
Was it difficult for a rural boy like you to get admission to this elite King's College school? How did it happen?
Well, it was done across the north. The Sardauna had set up a system where some of the very bright ones were picked from Kefi, from St. Michael's Aliede, from St. John's Kaduna, from Barewa in Zaria, and they picked them to send them to King's College. So from the north, we were 19 who came down then.
In 67?
In 67. The Civil War was just beginning.
Yeah.
My mother was in tears, said, they'll kill you there. But I went. So we did HSC there. And then in my lower sixth, I was house prefect, Hyde Johnson's house. And a year later, I was house captain, Hyde Johnson's house. then ABU 1969 to read French.
Why ABU? Why not Ibadan or Lagos
I don't know why I picked ABU, but somehow I liked ABU. And I had a few friends there. So I decided, look, I'll go there. People like Bongo Zikwe were there before they left. I didn't meet him, but he had just left. And the French language department in Zaria then was very strong. So I went to read French.
Again, that's a kind of curious choice, French.
Yes.
I mean, for a young man who in an English-speaking environment.
Yes, I've always liked languages. In secondary school, you can't believe this, I did Latin. And a good score in Latin too.
Right.
There was even a German woman married to an American who wanted to teach us German, but it was not on the curriculum.
Right.
But Latin and French and literature and history were my strong points.
Yeah.
I was absolutely hopeless in the sciences.
Right.
I don't want to tell you what I scored in chemistry,
Right.
but that's it.
So you chose French deliberately. You wanted to study.
Yes. And I was reasonably good at it. And then in Form 3, I went for the Audu Ogbeh at Kura Falls. They brought us from secondary schools across the country, about 60 of us. It was full-fledged military training without weapons. Climbing rocks, sailing.
Is Kura Falls in Jos?
Plateau, in Jos.
Plateau.
Yes, then after that, and that took me 3 months out of school. 3 months. I had to come back, copy notes. I still did well in my class, sufficiently well to be recommended to go to King's College. There were 3 of us, Andrew Abba, Innocent Dagema, and myself. So we did a HSC there, and then I came back north.
So how was the experience in ABU in those days? I mean, this is early 70s?
Yes.
Yes.
69.
69, yes.
Yes. ABU was an interesting place, real fun. We had Vice Chancellor Isha Audu, after whom Abubakar came in. And I was a member of the Yelwa Club. Yelwa Club was an elite club. We invited bands from Lagos, Fela Ransom Kuti, to stage dances for the school and so on. But ABU was very interesting. It was probably the best mixture of people from every ethnic group. First, it had the only faculty of architecture. So a lot of Southerners were there.
Yeah.
Then pharmacy, then law in Congo. So we had a good mixture. It was not dominated by Northerners at all.
Yeah.
And there was some closeness to home. And then the Civil War was over.
Yeah.
People were a little bit skeptical about what might follow. But we had faith. We got there and we enjoyed ourselves. And it was a good time.
Yeah.
Then, the accommodation in Zaria was fantastic. In a room almost as large as this, there were 2 of us. One chap from modern-day Kogi called Simon Okpanachi and myself. And believe this, stewards used to wash our clothes. You kept your clothes in a bag, left your name, they washed, ironed, and brought back in the evening.
And the food was good too.
Food was fantastic. I remember one Igbo boy they called Mighty, who had just come from the Civil War. Huge guy. One meal wasn't enough for him. So he had to get 2 meals. Until one day, a fight broke out between him and the stewards. And the fight spread around, and all the plates and knives and forks were used as missiles. And people hid under their tables. Some sat under the tables to eat while the missiles landed on their heads. Oh, real fun.
Part of your program was to go abroad, study, stay 1 year. I think you went to Senegal for that?
Yes.
How was that experience?
Fine. They selected us from different universities, Ife, Nsukka, ABU, and Ibadan. Some went to France, some went to Dakar. We spent a year there.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting too. We had the scholarships, a bit of pocket money. And while I was there, I got to know Ambassador Balewa and Mr. Fowora and Mr. Imam, the 3 leaders of the embassy. And then Yakubu Gowon came in 1971 on his first major visit after the Civil War. Recently, I asked him on a flight, we were together, what he came to Dakar to do. He said that was the time he first mentioned the idea of ECOWAS. Now the embassy asked me to present the address of welcome to Yakubu Gowon on behalf of the Nigerian community,
Right.
which I did. And I have some pictures.
Yeah.
So Dakar was interesting. It enabled us mix up with people of the Francophone community. It made it easier for us to communicate. And it therefore ended up as a very good training ground in your capacity to manage the language rather than just rely on the textbook.
Yeah. Was your thoughts then maybe French, which I know you did a master's later.
Yeah.
Were you thinking of being a diplomat, or is just
Believe
a
me,
language?
I wanted to be a diplomat. And when we got back 1972, we were interviewed. And I was actually selected. And I was asked to prepare and go to the United Nations, where Ambassador Edwin Ogbeh represented Nigeria.
Right.
And he wanted me to come be his PA or something.
Right.
Somehow I changed my mind for two reasons. First, the Naira was much stronger than the dollar. Naira was $1.50, but $1.80. Then I had younger brothers and sisters to help through school. And there was no amount of dollars I could send home if I saved anything at all to help translate into Naira, to help my poor father, a retired poor farmer, to sustain these expenditures. So I said, let me stay at home. I chose to remain in Zaria.
So you chose to be a lecturer rather than a diplomat.
Exactly. And I was posted to the Institute of Education, where we were training teachers who were also teaching French. The idea was to spread the French language in Nigerian secondary schools at that time, because of the importance of French and the fact they were surrounded by Francophone countries. That was the reason.
Then you moved to Benue College of Arts?
Murtala College of Arts, Science and Technology.
Why? Why that move?
The governor invited us to come home, Abdullah Shelem.
Yes.
That they had a school, he needed people to head the place.
Yes.
So I went to be the acting head of that Department of Languages, Arts and Social Sciences.
Yes.
Yes.
It paid better, or you wanted to be closer home?
The pay was not particularly higher, but it brought me nearer home. My mother aging, my father aging, and then my immediate family. And then I've always wanted to be a farmer. So from Makodi, I could go to Otukpa weekends, plant my trees and so on and so forth.
So you started farming at that point?
Long ago,
young lecturer.
Yes.
Then, of course, you moved into politics.
Yes.
Contested the House of Assembly.
Yes.
Many poor lecturers today will wonder, how did you manage as a lecturer to move into politics?
It was quite an experience. While I was teaching in the Murtala College of Arts and Science, we had an association from my community called Otukpa in Ogbadibo local government. And we built a community secondary school, very well built. I was very active in it. And when it started, it took off so well that once the idea of going to the assembly came up, the same group that I was part of, that started the school, came and met me and said, we want you to represent us. And I said, no, I'd rather be a career teacher. And they said no. And believe me, the pressure was unbearable. My mother warned me, said, don't go there, they could kill you. Yes, even my father didn't like it. Because my father was a campaign agent for a minister who had come from that same community called Audu Ogbeh in the Northern House. My father said, politics is very dangerous. Don't go there. But the pressure was crazy. So when I finally resigned, I had to pack out of my quarters, move my family into a 2-bedroom place in a place called Kwararafa quarters.
In Makadi?
In Makadi.
Yeah.
My wife and three children. It was very uncomfortable. And I didn't have the money.
Yeah.
A few people helped.
What of this group that pushed you into it?
Oh, well, they offered the promise, but they're mainly civil servants. Some did what they could, but it never went round my needs.
Money was still needed.
For you had to fuel. First of all, I had to buy a campaign van. I had a small car that was no good. And the van cost 3,000 naira then, sold by Telegiado Motors. I bought it and I was paying, and I was going home every weekend from community to community. Palm wine here, kola nuts there, talking to the people. I had 42 such visits to make.
42?
Yes, visits like that. But the reception was fine.
Yeah.
Especially because I was in NPN.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, which was the dominant party.
Exactly, geopolitics. People were more familiar than with NPP, which was centered in the East. So it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
But somehow I got through, and
but you won at the first try.
I did. I did.
Yes.
I had some narrow misses with some things which could have been accidents or designs, but I won.
Yeah.
And got to the House, and then I was elected Deputy Speaker.
Yeah, straight away.
I wanted to be Speaker.
Yeah.
But there was a geopolitics, the TIV were the dominant tribe.
Yeah.
So they wanted the speaker there. And I argued that if you had governor, you shouldn't have speaker. Yeah. But it's okay, we settled, and I was deputy speaker.
Right.
Until February 82.
Yeah. Then this big transition to minister in Shagari's government. How did it come about that they picked you in the State Assembly? Again, luck?
I guess perhaps the recommendation probably came from the governor, Governor Aperaku.
Who was Steve?
Yes.
Yes.
And I guess it was a certain sense of fairness.
Yes.
I was on my poultry farm one afternoon after debates in the House when the party chairman, one Chief Audu Ogbeh, drove into my place.
Of the state?
Yes. And said, get ready, let's go to the governor's office. And I said, no, I'm very dirty. You see me? He said, no, no, no. I said, what do you mean? He said, no, the governor wants to see you now. Is there any problem? He said, no. So I washed my hands and cleaned my face, went there. And the governor said, do you want to go to Lagos as minister? It makes sense to me. Minister? How is that? He said, no, Shagari wants you there. That was it.
That's how it happened?
Yeah. Goodwill on his part, and then I had to pack and get ready.
Shagari didn't know you?
He didn't know me.
Yeah. So the nomination came from the state?
Exactly.
So how
and that was because the agreement between MPN and MPP had collapsed at the center. So new vacancies were created for Shagari to now put his people in.
It must be disorienting to be a minister at 34. You
30,
are just,
34.
Yes.
Yes.
How did you cope?
I didn't feel too much of a shock. I had good civil servants, one of whom was John Oyegun. John Oyegun.
Yes.
Oyegun was my permanent secretary.
Yes. Which way? This was power or which minister was
communication.
this? Communication.
Yes.
Yes.
So, and they were good to me. I came in, they didn't look down on me because they were older, but they saw me with through. I asked them, what do you do here? How do you do it? And the telephones, the postal service, and the fact that the system was very rudimentary then. Yeah. Okay? But they were good people. Yeah. Yes. After the election in 83, Shagari then said, okay, you go to the steel industry. Because Ali Makele, who was minister, had been dropped.
Yes. How was being a minister then? You are a politician from the state. How did it transform your life? How did it transform your relationships with your parents, with your friends, and all that?
There wasn't too much of a transformation. The only thing was the pressure. People see a minister primarily almost as a contract awarding officer. You can't blame them. But contracts don't just happen. In a ministry like the telecoms industry, you could only award contracts to the Siemens and the ITTs and others because a telephone exchange was reasonably complex technology. And there's, of course, the postal services. So it created problems. People expected you to give them contracts to improve their living. They had given you support or goodwill. Yeah. Quite often you didn't have enough to give. Yes. And they also expected you to have money to give them. After all, minister. Yes. Overnight, you have police escorts and you have cars and you're going around. You can't convince anyone that you are not a rich man. Yes. It's still the virus of society today. Yes. Because the last
how did you cope? You had to be given money when you come home, I imagine, to move.
Yeah, if you had, you gave. But if you didn't, and you told people, very few would believe you. Because how do you make the money? You can't go around contractor saying, give me money. Yeah. You lose your dignity. On the other hand, you tell people, look, I'm not as rich as you think, and they don't believe you. How can a whole minister? Not long ago in my last outing here.
As Minister of Agric?
Yes, I was sitting one of our major programs in the hall here, and there was a gentleman to my left, a minister, a former vice chancellor. And I asked him, how are you getting on? He smiled. He said, you know what? As I sit here, I don't have 10,000 naira in any account anywhere on planet Earth. And I believed him. It's quite a transition. When you're suddenly raised and people think it's all about, oh, now he's collecting cash in basins. No.
So in between politics, of course, you are minister, then you went to Kirikiri, as you said, and there was this long hiatus where the military came back.
Yes.
What were you doing all that period?
We were the earliest to be released. And we came back home and started life afresh. It wasn't easy.
Did you go back to teaching?
No, I returned to Makodi. Who will employ you after being a politician?
After being a minister?
And minister, you are soiled to a point, and you will constitute a political problem for the vice chancellor.
There's this long stretch during military rule from 1984 until 99. Very long hiatus. What were you doing? Because of course you didn't go back to teaching. So what mainly were you doing to occupy yourself?
I was working on the farms. I was probably the first private Nigerian to produce rice free of stones, because former head of state Olusegun Obasanjo had some Chinese friends who brought some machines in. And for the first time I saw a destoner, a gravity destoner.
So you knew Obasanjo from that period?
Oh yes, yes. Obasanjo came to Makodi in 1988 on a visit. We didn't get to know each other that closely, but I then met him briefly. Yeah, I used to visit him. We're pretty close, no doubt. So I told him some of his machines, I need them, he gave me, and he said I should pay bit by bit.
Yes.
I'm still owing him 10,000 naira.
Up to now?
Till tomorrow. It's a World Bank loan, I'm not paying back.
Does he remind you?
Oh yes, we laugh.
Yes.
But he had a great passion for agric too. Because the thing about agriculture is when you've been in office at a certain level, it becomes very difficult for you to take a bag and walk around ministries and former cabinet colleagues or the new ones asking for LPOs and contracts.
So farming is the logical thing.
It's a logical thing for those who, unless you have another profession, you're a lawyer or an engineer or a doctor, maybe you can go back to those. But for a teacher, it's not very convenient.
But farming also takes a lot of money.
That's
what your average Nigerian would tell you.
And then you go near the banks, the interest rates they charge are impossible. But that's the problem here, which I'll return to later maybe.
Yeah.
There is nowhere in Europe or the United States where banks charge more than 5% for agric loans. But here you are told that you charge what you like.
So which means farming is for rich, retired public servants.
Yes.
That's what it's become.
Yes, yes. But if you don't have the money, then you put in the labor yourself. Because where I was planting my cashew nuts, I had borrowed a bulldozer from Audu Ogbeh, who was chairman of the party in Benue, pushing down the trees, because it was a forest, and push down the trees and level the place, and then go to Angpa and buy the seedlings, using my car, a small car then, and come and plant and go back, until I raised about 40 hectares of cashew, probably the largest single cashew farm in the country now. It's not big enough.
Farming for rich public servants or people who are not really the day-to-day farmers seems not to succeed in Nigeria. What's your experience?
It's very tough. Finances, power, the infidelity of your staff. Oh no, that's the biggest killer. You can't jail them because the mother will come and cry, relatives will come, a small boy made a mistake, you want to kill him. In the end, you are guilty. Even if when they arrive, they see bankers in your house really harassing you that you're owing, it can't work. Again, it's one of the diseases of the African race. we are terribly emotional. There's no logic in our thinking. I am owing a bank. I don't want to hear that. You're hiding money. After all, you're a minister. So you struggle, and sometimes you find yourself going down. It reached a stage where I even had armed robbery on the farm in Makurdi House, on the outskirts. We had to pack and go back to Lagos.
Why was the attempt to assassinate you
Oh,
in 1998?
local politics. I know the fellow who sent the gang.
Were you trying to be governor or something?
No, nothing. But somebody doesn't like the way you wear your nose, so he wants to bury it. I've confronted him in the presence of his colleagues.
What was the motive, really?
Oh, get rid of somebody who might stand in your way.
And what was done about you? What did the police
Nothing.
and...
I wrote to the police. They did nothing until I wrote to the Oputa panel. And I think in the end, they retired the commissioner of police who was there as a young man, or was a young man in Kano, kind of guy who was deep in prayer. Believe this, he sent me a message 2 months before the incident saying, don't go back into politics. You'll be killed by your own brother in your house. It makes sense to me. At any rate, I didn't want to go back into politics. But I was on a flight to the US when somebody came and met me in the business class, said, Dr. Alex Ekweme is on this flight. I said, where? First class. Really? So I got up to go and greet him.
Because you were in government together?
No, yes, we were in government.
Yes.
He said, Audu, I've been looking for you. Really? Why, sir? He said, you are going to direct my campaign. 1998.
Yes.
He said, I've decided not to go back into politics. He said, don't talk nonsense. If all of you, people like you, run away, for whom are you leaving the country? The rest of the flight wasn't comfortable for me because I really didn't want to. Anyway, we returned, he called me, so Senator Onyabobi and myself opened his office and we began the campaign. And then on December 7th...
So that's what brought you back to politics?
Yes.
And this attempt was made by somebody close to you?
Oh yes, oh yes. And they came...
Because you are becoming prominent, then you are back in
They
the...
came at night, heavily armed, and shouted, we've come to kill you. And I said, in the name of the Lord Jesus, you will fail.
So you engaged them?
Oh yeah, yes. They broke down the door and came in. They had finished their bullets, shot my guards, firing all over the place. And then smashed my skull. This eye nearly fell out.
Oh, they shot at you?
Oh yes, and left me in a pool of blood. I went away. My staff, drivers and cooks and stewards who were outside, heard them chanting, we don't kill them. They came back at 6 a.m. and took me to the hospital. My head was this large to the theater. I was totally unconscious. Somehow managed me, and then I recovered. Then I had to leave the place, come to Abuja here. And Shehu Malami of Sokoto gave me a flat. Said, I had to stay there as long as you can. I had no house.
So politics is that dangerous here?
It is deadly. Make no mistakes. There are all kinds of creatures in the system. Voodoo priests, all sorts of savages are in the political system.
What happened then when Ekweme didn't make it and it was Obasanjo that became president?
Yeah, well...
How did he become party chair? Because that's what happened later on.
Yes. Ekweme didn't make it because after my attack, I couldn't carry on. Then Obasanjo was on the scene, and the decision then by the Northern Caucus was that, look, Iyoche Ayu, Jerry Gana, what's his name, Adamu Chiroma, Solomon La. One night, I was a meeting, we said, look, Rimi wanted to run. We said, Abubakar Rimi, please allow the Southerners to present a candidate.
That's why rotation
exactly,
kicked in, yeah.
Because after June 12th and all this wahala, if we deny the South again, the uproar will be too much. Rimi struggled a bit, but said, okay. So at the Just Convention, if you notice, there was no Northerner contesting.
It was Ekweme versus Obasanjo.
Mainly.
Yes.
So Obasanjo defeated Ekweme, fine. And then Obasanjo now called and said, why was I not in his system campaign? I said, I wasn't too well. So Ayu was directing his campaign. So that one passed, right? Then they picked Gamade as chairman. And then after Gamade, Obasanjo called me and said, you're my friend, you refuse to support me. I explained the matter to him. That's how I became chairman. So I defended him. One time when 15 governors came to this sitting room and told me they wanted, for his second term, and they were going to drop him.
Are these people who backed Atiku then? Because there is this...
No, it wasn't just about Atiku. They were going to back Atiku. And I said to them, gentlemen, let's go and think about it. The meeting went on till 4 a.m. from 11.
What was their problem with him after the first term?
Well, Obasanjo was a tough guy to work with. And I guess some of them, as time went on, couldn't stand his style, maybe. But I said to them, yes, those are personal issues. On the larger scale, there is no way after June 12th that the South will understand, because they will simply say Northerners are intolerable or intolerant of anybody else in the system. So please endure.
But Atiku, did he really make a serious bid?
Atiku showed interest. He wasn't too aggressive about it, in fairness to him. In fairness to him. Atiku is a nice person. So we saw it and said, okay, allow the South their 8 years. The country has to survive.
Yeah.
Okay? Otherwise, you wound the emotion of the South. After June 12th, you have to be careful how you treat them. And I guess in the end, he didn't push too hard.
Yeah. So you really helped him to get the second term?
Oh, I did.
Yes.
There's no doubt.
But why did he then turn around and throw you out as party chair?
I really don't know. I didn't like what happened in Anambra with Chris Ngige. And they literally, an AIG was brought in from Imo to Anambra to literally force Ngige to resign. I said, this is not democratic.
For Chris Uba?
Yes. So, and I didn't like those things. And once in a while, I tried to tell him, look, in a democracy, you can't do this.
So did you confront Obasanjo over that?
Not openly, yes, we did. We had.
There's this famous story that he came to you and literally forced you to resign?
No.
Okay.
Because there was a night we had a disagreement. He spoke to me in a manner I didn't like. And then the next day we had the caucus. And I said to him, I said, Mr. President, you spoke to me last night in the presence of a lady, as if I was your cook. I am not your cook, Mr. President. I said, you think this job means everything in the world? I don't earn a dime as party chairman. 2 naira. I don't. Have you ever heard I took a dime from the party funds? I said, no. Have I come to you asking for money? I said, no. You don't talk to me like that.
So it was a confrontation?
Yeah, and all the governors were there. And I said, and if you people in this room are tired, I'll go to my house now and bring my letter of resignation. The job doesn't mean anything to me. Many governors followed me and said, God bless you. You're the true son of your father. I said, yes. What is it? So
did he demand your resignation? Because
no, he didn't.
Yeah.
It was after that I made up my mind I was going to resign. I wrote my letter here. The story that he brought a pistol. Presidents don't carry pistols.
Yeah.
No. And I said, I've had enough. I'll give it to him. And left.
Yeah.
Because anything you're doing in this world that tends to take your dignity away, the dignity comes from God. He created you.
But Chief, you are still the Minister of Agriculture. You had the chance to run the Ministry of Agriculture for 4 years, or thereabout, under Buhari recently. What did you make of that opportunity?
Under me, 2018, Nigeria became Africa's #1 rice producer. We took over from Egypt, right? These things grow steadily. We're going to go into cocoa and revive because cocoa production had declined. You know the problem with the minister or Ministry of Agric? You can only push policy. The implementers have to be in the states and the farmers. You don't have a budget of your own to go giving farmers fertilizer and so on. You can bring fertilizer at a subsidized price, but you don't have any land. The only piece of land that the federal government has is FCT. So the minister can't go and start a farm in a state. He can only encourage. He can only push policy. He can only source for seedlings of the right source. Like when I first became minister, I saw the problem of cattle rearing. And I said I was going to bring improved grass seeds to plant here in specific places so the cows don't have to roam. Cows don't like roaming. They are heavy animals with short legs. They want to stay in a place, graze and drink water, and then produce milk if they are milk cows. But no, you match them. You see them going around Abuja eating plastics.
So, but what happened with the initiative to bring this to the grass and all that?
There was, we brought some in. See, the negative attitude of Nigerians when you say something and they don't know anything about it, they go on the air, they abuse, they call you names. The current minister of livestock, and I met in Makodi, he says the problem is grass and water, nothing else. You think the Fulani man wants to walk from Yola to Lagos following his cattle? He doesn't. He's an intelligent person, but he has to find food for his head. And then there's an agreement between us and ECOWAS that cattle from all over West Africa can come here and graze, and our own cows can go and graze there. What is the feasibility? Signed under Abdul Salam. But you have land. Create the grazing areas, give these cattle thing, vaccinate them. They will give you, instead of 2 liters of milk a day, 15, 20. And then you stop spending $5 million a day on milk. But these are the ideas I have which make me enemies.
So who will not like these ideas? I mean, a government like that of Buhari should have encouraged you to...
Strangely enough, when I didn't return in 2019.
You are dropped after the first...
Yes, I was told that I knew too much. People who offered money, don't stop importation of rice, let's keep bringing in. And I said, no, it's too much. $5 million US on the average a day. We overtook Egypt as Africa's #1 rice producer under me. Additional had done some work improving, giving seeds to farmers to grow, and then the mills came. By today, we could have been exporting rice openly to West Africa. They cut you short, and what do you do?
Where do you think we are now? Where are we in terms of this?
We're importing heavily now. I mean, since the new policies increased the price of food and so on, we've gone back to importation. I spent a lot of time in Ivory Coast at a point when I was doing a program for Cross River State. The export port in Ivory Coast is busier than the import port, but not here. I did a project for Donald Duke, pineapples. We brought 50 million seedlings of pineapples to plant. It started off, but after he left office, his successor ignored it. We would have been flying pineapples to Europe from here, like they do in Cote d'Ivoire.
Do you have hope, having been in politics, in governance of this country for more than 40 years, that we can solve these perennial problems we all talk about?
We can, but I do not know under what circumstances or leadership we will achieve it. Because in spite of everything, the elite are basically scornful of agriculture. Number 2, the local government experiment has failed here woefully. That's why when the Patriots met last week, I was invited. I didn't get the invitation. If I had gone there, I would have told them, don't waste your time.
Even with this recent reform, we are told local government would get their money directly.
In spite of all that, the money is not getting to local governments. Every one of us comes from a local government, right? How many of us have gone home recently to see a grader leveling roads? Ordinary grader, no, don't tie it, just level it so the farmer can go on his bicycle, tie his yams at the back and bring to the city with greater ease. How many states can you go to without finding children lying on their bellies reading and writing because there are no desks? Go to some states. Retired teachers are re-engaged for 5,000 naira a month to teach our children who will replace me and you. Is that fair? And then young people have left the villages. They can't stay there. They will never marry or have a home. They come to Abuja in search of work. There is no work. Sometimes you go to Mararaba, Nyanya places, you find 6 or 7 of them in a room. And each morning they have to transport themselves to the city to work. At what cost? How much are they paid? So this is the background to the confusion and hate which is developing in the place. So you go into politics now and start preaching your old doctrines. Somebody will eliminate you again because why are you standing in their way? And it's not the fear of death. It's the caution and the realization of the futility of your dreams. That a large number of people don't care a hoot. They want power and that's it. Don't stand in their way.
Do you think this deepening poverty will be the catalyst for change, or is it going to be really catalyst for destruction? If
I'm afraid, I pray to God that it becomes a catalyst for change. But at the level of the political management, we are not doing enough. Somebody has to ask the fundamental question. Where is the money belonging to local governments? And number 2, if the local governments are doing nothing with it, is there nobody who can check? We send you cash, 1.8 trillion now, to share between state, federal, and local governments. There is no evidence that anything is reaching my local government. Is the answer silence? Or is the Constitution too impotent to find a solution to that situation? Because we're all guilty.
Yeah. But do you think the solution is what the patriots are saying recently? We need a new constitution.
Well, they see, we don't need to go into a new constitution. Because that's another cumbersome process. We'll gather here the next 6 months making high voltage speeches. What are you going to bring out? Well, either you have the French-type parliamentary stroke presidential system, the prime minister is a member of parliament, and the president is there, or you go back to the old presidential, parliamentary system, practiced in England. You think that will change everything? It won't. Because fundamentally, the logic of governance is not deep enough to check what we're talking about. Who will check the local governments, and who will prevent governors from cheating the local governments?
But I think the main argument they're making is that we should restructure. Let everybody go back to his own area and develop it or leave it.
Like everybody whom? Every local government or every tribe?
No, I mean maybe the change the structure of the federation. Because maybe we've become indolent, relying on the wealth of oil, which is from especially here in the north.
Yeah. I'm not sure that will happen because for most people going into politics, it's about getting in there. They want power. And I'm not sure that philosophically we're deep enough to ask ourselves, why am I in government? Some people accuse some governors of diverting the funds because they accuse the governors also of being the ones who planted the local government chairman. The local government chairman don't have the courage to stand up to a governor. There are states in the country now where state assembly members are on suspension for challenging a governor. I was a deputy speaker of Benue. In 1981, Balarabe Musa was impeached by a state assembly. Okay, we are looking for young people to go into politics. Do they have any courage to stand up and say, look, what is going on in my local government? We don't see anything. Nobody dares talk. So at what point will the new constitution say, okay, if you fail, we can do the X, Y, Z to you? It's not going to change anything. It's just an overload. And this is what troubles everybody.
Tell us a little bit about the private Audu Ogbeh.
Well, I have one wife, 5 children, 8 grandchildren, and I am a rather sad person because I can see dangers ahead. I hope they don't come, based on what we're discussing. And I don't see why we are hoping that the younger generation will wake up one day and be dancing for joy. There is nothing to say they will, because they can't earn enough. Each one of these young men is sending money home to a mother, a cousin, a sister, who believes they are in Abuja, therefore they have money. They don't have money. They just don't have money. And their numbers are increasing. They're leaving the villages, heading for the cities. They arrive in the cities, the conditions are absolutely impossible. They can't go back to the villages unless we begin to do things in the villages that will actually call them back home. I went to a local government in India, right? I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. The state of Gujarat, the home state of the current Indian Prime Minister. They gave me and my son a car to visit, because when I travel, I'm not too content with the city. It's the same thing. Flashy cars, hotels, what else? Nice houses. Go to the village and find out what makes the people strong or weak. Believe me this, history, believe it. We went to a local government in the state of Gujarat. The chairman posted on this board the number of industries in his local government. 1,000 factories in one local government in southwest India. 1,000 factories, some really huge. How does India do it? And why can't we do it here? And when are we going to do it here? Because these young men have to be employed.
Yeah.
And the beauty is this: the busier the men are, the less the population balloons. Japan will show you. Today, there are so many old people, they're now begging Japanese to have more children. Even China has moved from one-child policy to two. A busy man is not a sex-crazy individual. You get tired, go to sleep, wake up in the morning and go back to the factory.
Yeah.
We don't have it. I don't see any thirst for industrialization. There's none. If I go to the bank now and raise a loan at 37%, what am I producing? Cocaine? And it sounds so brilliant. You know, the guy is up there, tell you they have based interest rate that's dropped by 0 point something percent. Fantastic. How many pepper grinding mills has that created in the village? Nothing. You're talking of yams. Severe shortage now. One tuber for 3,000, 5,000 naira. What is the problem with yam production? 1980, I met Aparaku when he was governor. I was deputy. I said the time is coming when yam production will disappear. I said, why? The young boys who are making the hips have gone to school after the UPE, Universal Primary Education. They are not going to come back and take the hoe and make hips. So we're going to run short of yams. He looked at me and said, okay. I said, what do we do? Let's get an engineering firm that knows how to make a plow that can make yam hips. Because these boys are not going to take a hoe. And anybody above 30 is not material for making hips. They can't do it. Well, luckily, when I came to the Ministry of Agric, we have a place in Ilorin called the National Center for Agric Mechanization. They have made the plow now. I can hook to the proper tractor and make your hips. Number two, there is no country in the world that produces as much yam as we do, because the yam is indigenous to Nigeria. It was first found by botanists and here. It's called in Latin Dioscorea rotundata. The Ghanaians take from here and export. But are we increasing yam production? No, we're not.
So you don't sound like a very happy retiree.
No. No. Believe me, I'm a sad person. I try to find happiness, but I'm scared of the future. I may not be here. I'm way over 70, heading 80. I don't like what I smell. I have children and grandchildren. The young people are here. And my brother, hey, we can't lie. We had fun. We had the best. Are we giving the best to them? And that's what all of us in our old age, and it's not necessarily about creating a new constitution. You still bring the new problems. How is it that we're going to persuade the local government system to work? A long time ago, I heard a story that the Kano Native Authority gave a loan to the northern Nigerian government when there was some need. Kano NA, the equivalent of local governments now, will give a loan to the northern Nigerian government. Can it still happen? Yes. It's very depressing.
I think on that very poignant note, we come to the end of this conversation with Chief Audu Ogbeh. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope to see you again in another episode of Reminiscences. And thank you, Chief Ogbeh, for this enlightening conversation.
God bless you.
Goodbye.